I've tested thousands of recipes over the years, but I actually haven't gone and decided which ones are the best of the best. And since TikTok might be banned again, I'm gonna review all of the TikTok dishes that I've tried, and at the end of the video, I'll reveal the best TikTok recipes of all time. So let's start with Getty spaghetti with her mac and Cheetos that she says is actually good.
It's got that kick.
She starts by dumping a bag of flaming hot Cheetos into boiling water. It used to be a respectable food channel. And then she's adding the one with lime.
Just for like that hint of lime.
Oh my god, look at all that red dye. Red 40 pasta. Oof. So while the Cheetos are cooking, she's gonna boil off the mac and cheese noodles. And then she takes the cheese powder and dumps it into the Cheetos soup. Whoa, her husband says.
I know. That's gonna give it that cheesy flavor that everyone likes with the mac and cheese.
Eesh, that's gross. Sorry, but you enjoy. Now you see the separation of oil. Ew. I'm gonna puke. This reminds me of jail food. Do not try this at home. Y'all really just be doing anything and calling it food. Why not crush the chips into powder and add it in? Now I understand why TikTok's getting banned. This is the second video of people cooking chips in water. WTF. The toilet is typing ... Oh god. Why did this make me nauseous? Everybody's so creative. Someone should have told her that this actually exists too. Who copied who? No, I don't want to. But our entertainment is gonna be gone. I'm gonna give this recipe 0 out of 10. We have a chocolate strawberry cheesecake pasta. She says it's a dessert and dinner in one. But this lady starts off by putting a block of cream cheese in the center of her baking pan. No good recipe ever started off with a whole cheese block in a baking pan. And don't tell me that baked feta pasta was actually good, because I thought it was disgusting. But similar to that recipe, instead of tomatoes, she adds a whole pint of strawberries. And then she goes in with a drizzle of olive oil. But now she adds in a cup of sugar. Okay, this is a lot of sugar for this amount of strawberries. Some vanilla extract and a pinch of salt. Okay, now she mixes the sugar and the strawberries up. So far, other than the block of cream cheese in the center, I don't see any crimes being committed yet, but now she bakes it off for 40 minutes. This actually smells delicious. And it's almost like a strawberry cheesecake dip. Now she mixes everything. The cream cheese is nice and soft. There's just something about a block of cheese getting baked and then mixed like this where it just does not look that appetizing. This is where things get interesting. She adds in chocolate chips, mixes it again, and this next one might be my favorite part. We're gonna drain some cooked fettuccine and mix it in.
Fettuccine?
Yep. What in the buddy the elf is this? Someone in the comments said, just think guys, noodles doesn't have flavor, so it's gonna taste like strawberry shortcake. Yeah. She adds a hefty scoop onto a plate and the cherry on top.
Strawberry on top?
The berry on top. Let's see what chocolate strawberry cheesecake pasta tastes like. It's just all sorts of wrong. I can confirm that it does not taste like the strawberry shortcake in that comment, and this is indeed a crime. 1 out of 10. With this next one, we're getting a daily dose of the internet. Bet you didn't know if you smash steamed carrots. I've actually never thought of smashing steamed carrots, but we're making crispy smashed carrots. So this creator starts off with already having steamed baby carrots. I pretty much just steam these for 10 minutes. I don't like them raw. I'm not really sure how they're gonna taste steamed either. Let's just place them down. And then he uses a glass jar to smash them. That's pretty genius. Ooh. I've seen smashed potatoes. Maybe this will give the same smashed potato vibes, except kind of falling apart. Okay. Now he adds Parmesan ranch seasoning. But let's be real, anything smashed with cheese and ranch would taste amazing. He says they're supposed to be crispy and amazing, but without any kind of olive oil, I'm not sure how it's gonna get crispy, but we'll find out. And then he bakes it at 400 for 20 minutes. Someone in the comments said she tried it and hers never got crispy. crispy. Well, they smell really good, but I don't think they're gonna be crispy. He dips it in ranch, but I really wanna just see how they taste plain since there's already ranch seasoning. Not only are they not crispy, they don't taste amazing. Someone said baby carrots are basically just shaved down carrots soaked in bleach, and I don't know what the cooking process did, but it just enhanced that bleach flavor even more. I'm gonna say this is a hot mess, 2 out of 10. This video wouldn't be complete if I didn't grate some chicken. Yes, you heard that right. We're grating some frozen chicken because yes, this does exist on TikTok. It's hard. Let's try that hack we learned. Okay, I'm gonna be here for a while. What, and I mean what in the 5-minute craft is this? And someone else said, you know the grocery store sells ground chicken, right? The warmth from my hand holding it because it's taking so long and starting to like defrost the chicken, all while my fingers are frozen. Okay. And now I have a salmonella infested grater. I'm gonna go ahead and burn this now. Now that we have our grated chicken, she seasons it with some Parmesan cheese, a little bit of breadcrumbs, an egg, oregano, salt, black pepper, and garlic. Give it a mix. Wow. Which one came first, the chicken or the egg? And now we're gonna spread our butter generously in the pan with a brush. And then we're gonna add our chicken mixture, smush it down until it's nice and flat. And then on medium heat, we're gonna cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes. Oof, it's nice and browned. Oof. Oh, it's like a chicken pancake, but it gets worse. She flips it over and then adds some tomato sauce. Then we're gonna cover it with some ham, mozzarella. Do you see where this is going? Some chopped olives, oregano. We're gonna cover it back to let the cheese get melty. And this is supposed to be better than pizza. We shall see about that. But someone said, I'm physically ill. I'm so glad I'm not the only one who felt like this was a war crime. I would have put the cheese over the tomato sauce because the ham is slipping and sliding, but it's basically a protein pizza. The pancake itself isn't bad. The only thing that could make this concoction even worse would be to add some pineapples. A 4 out of 10. Let's make a cocktail. Everything looks pretty normal here, except we're making a kimchi margarita. I love kimchi. I love margarita. What can go wrong, right? She juices half a lime and half an orange. Her whole thing about this kimchi margarita is that spicy margarita exists and they're a little funky, so why not just try this? Tequila, triple sec, agave, except she levels with us and says in this economy, who can afford agave? So she uses a little squidge of honey. And then she says about a shot of the kimchi brine. Try not to get any cabbage in there. Oh, this one is potent. There's a Korean restaurant that do loads of different kimchi and all of their cocktails use kimchi juice and they're delicious. Ooh, the color is beautiful. Oh, interesting. And she garnishes it with another piece of lime. It smells funky. If you love kimchi, this might smell like heaven. I feel like there could be some adjustments to this recipe. I would probably use a little more tequila, a little more triple sec, definitely a lot more honey, or agave if you could afford it. All of the lime juice. Not sure I love it still. I'm gonna go ahead and call this unhinged 5 out of 10. This is the mac and cheese that nearly broke the internet. And when she means cheese, she means cheese. So she starts off by telling you to boil your pasta and only use these cavatappies, which are elbows on steroids. They're more like corkscrew with these ridges that really cling into the sauce. And now she shreds her cheese. You have a pound of mozzarella, a pound of Colby Jack, and only half a pound of sharp cheddar. Let's start shredding. I'm using my handy dandy cheese grater from the gadget video. Go watch that video after I show you number 1. One down. Is anything even coming out? This is so much cheese. I can't say that I've ever grated this much cheese or cooked with this much cheese before in my life. It's raining cheese. Okay, but now she says to mix it in a big bowl. Is this gonna fit? And then divide it in half. Now it looks like she moves on to her spices. She mixes some salt and pepper, eyeballs, paprika, garlic powder, and that's it. Now we're ready to cook. She starts by melting 3 tablespoons of butter, and then she adds half of the spices spices that we just mixed and cooks it up for more flavor. I've never used smoked paprika before, so I'm interested to see how this works out. And then she adds in some flour to make a roux, cooks it off, and then she adds evaporated milk. Interesting. Keep whisking until it thickens up, and then she adds more cream. Oh man. The smoked paprika in here definitely gets all up in your nose. Whew. And then the rest of our mix. Now we're supposed to let it thicken up, but she says her secret weapon is Dijon mustard. It's supposed to bring out the tanginess of the mac and cheese, the cheese flavor. Okay, it looks like I'm supposed to let it thicken up a little bit and then melt a little bit of cheese first. I guess this is supposed to thicken up the sauce and not make it all grainy. Okay, let's dump in the rest of the cheese. Let's do a little cheesy ASMR. Stretchy and cheesy. Holy cow. Now we add in our noodles, stir it up. It reminds me of Rice Krispie treats, like the stretchiness of it. Okay, now we're gonna transfer half into this baking pan. I feel like I can use a whole nother pound of noodles and still have enough cheese. Once we have half of our layer in, we're gonna use the rest of this cheese. I'm gonna make a call and I'm not gonna add all the cheese because this is so much. Okay, and then we're gonna pour the rest of the mac and cheese on top and then top it with another layer of cheese. I know this isn't a rage bait account because she makes some pretty good food, but this feels very rage bait. People in the comments have made it and said, my family tried it and loved it, 10 out of 10. She actually says no breadcrumbs because she does not like it. Let's bake it off. Here is the mac and cheese, complete with a nice layer of grease on top. Gotta do a crunchy cheese ASMR real quick. So she says she makes people mad when she goes straight for the middle part. Does this make you mad too? Does that look good? There is such thing as way too much cheese, and I'm gonna have to say this was kind of over the top. Almost rage bait. 5 out of 10. Next up, we're making pizza popcorn, and that sounds fine, but this creator triggered everybody when he said that everybody knows the best part about pepperoni pizza is the oil that the pepperonis leave behind, and boy did that make people mad. Bro, it's like the worst part when there's too much. And someone else said, that's why everybody dabs the grease off with a towel and then eats the towel right after, right? Ouch. He starts off by cooking the pepperoni. Personally, I've never thought that was the best part. Oh, this pool of oil right here is the main reason to not get pepperoni at some places. Then to spice it up, he makes what he calls a pizza powder, which is just Parmesan cheese, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, and oregano. And he says that this can go on anything. Not bad, it smells like pizza. Okay, now he adds some popcorn straight into the hot grease and lets it pop. Oh, it's starting to pop. At least it's making the popcorn poppin'. I mean, it doesn't look half bad. It just has that greasy smell to it. So while it's still hot, he adds in the spices that we just made, the pepperoni, and then some shredded cheese. Toss it. Someone said I can feel the heartburn just by watching this video. I can feel my arteries clog just by smelling this. But let's give it a try. I like the pizza powder. The pepperoni doesn't really do anything for me. I feel like people would like this though. If you were to make pizza popcorn though, I guess this is how you would do it. I think it's legit. 5 out of 10. With 61.4 million views, this is a healthy poke noodles from Bayashi. I got sashimi grade tuna. Doesn't look as big as his, so I'm gonna cut his recipe in half. Thank God, because I don't wanna do all of what you're about to see next. Lucky for me, I have the world's sharpest knife and my mouth is watering already. And then he spoons in his avocado. Why when someone asks you to eat healthy food, it'll always be avocado. It goes so fast, I can't really tell exactly what they are, but for sure he adds tamari, and then it looks thin, so I'm guessing rice vinegar. Sesame oil is a must. I like a lot of sesame oil. We'll just use the wasabi paste that came with the fish. That's gonna be spicy. And sesame seeds. Okay, let's give it a good mix. That looks really good. But now he puts it into a plate of ramen with a little ring mold. So I'm just gonna cook up some Hokkaido wheat noodles. Yay! It's ready. So the noodle dressing is very similar to the poke, but I'm gonna add some garlic to my bowl, a hint of maple syrup just for sweetness, and then we're gonna add rice vinegar, soy sauce, and sesame oil. Mix it up, and then we're gonna toss our cold ramen noodles in. All right, let's plate. So he brings out a plate of ramen with like a circle ring mold inside. We're gonna do this flower mold to match our plate. So I'm gonna spread the ramen around the outer edge of the mold, and then he fills the mold with the poke salad. Let's remove the mold. Still kind of a flower shape. It looks like he then sprinkles everything with some parsley before adding in a raw egg yolk. This screams salmonella. But someone else said, when you cook a sunny side egg, the yolk is still raw, just the egg whites are cooked. Still salmonella. Oh my God. And he does 3. Need to finish the video for you guys, so I'm not trying to get sick here. But let's break open the yolk, because this is visual ASMR. Raw fish, raw egg, cold noodles. 5 out of 10. I feel like the egg yolk was completely unnecessary. Phew. If you guys thought those were bad, they can only get better from here. Apparently, this creator says you can make almond milk by just mixing almond butter and water, and then a few other seasonings. My almond butter seems kind of chunky. Then she adds cinnamon and vanilla bean paste to flavor it up. Another creator that did the same recipe also said she used to work as a barista, and this was exactly how that coffee shop made their almond milk because it was easier and more cost effective. I feel like in order for this to be successful, you have to have a really powerful blender because I could still see some of the chunks by the lid. I've always been nervous to try making this, but I'm doing it now because I trust you. But then the creator goes on to say, I don't use it exclusively, but it's a great hack if you need almond milk. It's definitely a lot darker than the typical almond milks that you buy in the store. I'm not super impressed with it because it does definitely smell like almond butter in a jar that's been sitting, but it's good when you're in a pinch like she said, so I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Now we have my favorite, Josh and his sweet mama, and she's gonna show us how to make water burgers. No, not Whataburger, literally water burgers. She's really just grabbing a hunk of meat like this, not even seasoning it. She forms it into a patty and drops it straight into a pot or a pan of simmering water. Someone said, hamburger and water just threw me, dog. Someone else said, I'm sorry, this has to be illegal. Someone help mama. Why? It's not even seasoned. But apparently she says you're supposed to cook it until it floats on top. That's when you know it's done. Ooh, I might have to flip mine. It doesn't look like it's being submerged enough. I mean, that's one way to cook a burger. Wow, the foam from the meat looks so appetizing. But now she drains the water. And this is our burger, white bread. Looks like she has ketchup, mustard, a slice of cheese, and then the burger goes on top. Yeah, it looks kind of like hers. Someone said this is the normalest thing I've ever seen her make. Someone else said, you know what? I've actually had some burgers boiled in water. Not gonna lie, they're actually good. Oh, a nice splattering of meat juice comes out. So now I know why it did not float if it does in fact even float. I didn't cook mine to a crisp gray puck like hers. It appears that it's still like a nice medium. This is what 15 minutes gets you for a boiled burger. Someone said, bet it's healthier than frying them. I can't imagine how much more, what's the right word, chewy it would be if I cooked it all the way through. Sure gonna miss Josh and mama, but this burger is gonna have to get 6 out of 10. Next up, we have a somewhat unhinged snack recipe from Alex Earl. But basically, she eats her popcorn with a spoonful of marinara. Popcorn with marinara? Please, Alex. Apparently, she ran out of hot sauce, so she subbed it with marinara, and she says it's really good. The popcorn is just another vehicle, like pasta. It's basically zucchini noodles. That's where I'm gonna have to stop you. Someone else said, when the food runs out, you discover the best snacks. I feel like the marinara is too wet for popcorn, making it soggy. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't hate it, but the fact that you have like a wet sauce on top of popcorn makes it a little soggy, like I said. But it tastes good. And I have to say, anything would taste better than that pepperoni popcorn. Girl dinner. 6 out of 10. Now with 26 million views, we have what they call a mini pancake chocolate chip sandwich. So let's start by making the pancake batter. To my bowl, I'm gonna add some flour, sugar, baking powder, and a pinch of salt. Okay, now for the wet ingredients, I already have some milk. We're just gonna add some oil, an egg, and vanilla, and mix it all up. This is very similar to our waffle batter, except I can't use the pen because we're adding mini chocolate chips. But somebody said I did half the batch with chocolate chips and the other half with none. In my opinion, no chocolate chip is better. Well, too late for that. But now let's cook it up. It doesn't look like he or she greased the pan too much, but I can't make pancakes without at least buttering the pan. Now we're just gonna make tiny little silver dollar pancakes. Making them perfectly round, kind of a skill. Now I understand why he used a fork to flip it. Whoa. Ta-da! Now they pipe on the chocolate filling onto each pancake and makes a little sandwich. I feel like a spoon does the job for me. Someone said, they look so dry. Bite, drink of water, bite, but our drippy sauce might help. 6 out of 10. Next up, we have a banana milk. She said, I mixed rice with banana and the result surprised everyone. It sure did. But she starts off with 5 cups of bananas, and I'm gonna half this recipe just in case. And then half a cup of rice on top. Are we not washing our rice here? Next, she adds hot water just to cover everything, and then a whole tablespoon of cinnamon. We're gonna have that. And then cooks it for about 20 minutes. So far, it's giving horchata vibes, but people in the comments said at some point we gotta stop allowing this because what she does next is crazy. Okay. The rice is looking halfway cooked, soft, and the bananas are nice and mushy. And now she takes it off heat and adds everything to a blender. Let's blend it up. Okay, let's take a quick look at this. The coloring of hers is much different from mine. Mine is like brownish while hers looks more yellow, and she calls this banana juice, but this is definitely given baby food. Then she thins it out with a little bit of water and blends it again. Next, she passes it through a fine mesh sieve to catch any seeds, but I'm also not seeing any seeds as big as hers, just some residual cinnamon. What kind of bananas is she using? Maybe plantains? That would explain the cooking process. Sometimes it's about the journey and not the destination. Now she says to add a cup of sugar, but what I'm noticing, the audio does not match the visual. That's not a cup of sugar, that's half a cup. Lemon juice. This feels wrong. And finally, to give it a very special taste, she says a tablespoon of vanilla, but it's a teaspoon. Let's mix this up. Look at the consistency. One of the comments said, it's never juice, instead it's porridge. We must add it to a jar and let it chill for 2 hours. Okay, so she says to refrigerate it for 2 whole hours, but as you can see, steam is clearly coming out of her juice, so maybe her concept of time is a little off too. But we're pouring it over ice anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. It's so thick. It's bubbling. Let's try this juice, this jungle juice. Actually though, this is not half bad. The only thing is that it's really thick, and maybe instead of treating it as a beverage, it should be more like pudding or just thinned out a lot more, but the flavor is definitely there. I'm gonna say this is a creative concoction that could use a little improvement. 6 out of 10. And now we have what he calls an easy string cheese stuffed pasta, or as someone said, if lasagna gave up. But he starts by taking these manicotti shells and he stuffs it with some string cheese. Yeah, the kind you packed for lunch as a kid. He lines them up in a glass baking dish. It's a perfect fit, who knew? People got really mad and said, this is not manicotti. Then he takes some tomato sauce. He's using Prego, but says you can use whatever you want. Pours in half a cup of water to make sure the pasta cooks. And now we get to the fun part. He only adds chopped onions to half of the dish because he says his kids don't like onions. Then he sprinkles some garlic powder and a little bit of Italian seasoning. So little that everyone said, where's the rest of the seasoning? Then he smothers it with some Italian sausage, adds a little bit more of the tomato sauce, mushes it around, covers it with foil, and it goes into bake. Someone said they tried this recipe and their pasta didn't get done. Will the pasta cook? It doesn't look like it's quite cooked or bubbly yet. Now he drenches the top with mozzarella, or someone says your definition of drench is different than mine. Then some Parmesan and a sprinkling of fresh or dried parsley. Now we're gonna pop this back into the oven for another 10 minutes. This actually looks pretty good, but I'm just hoping that the pasta's cooked. Is this the onion side or not? I can't tell, but we're just gonna go in from here. Cut it like an enchilada. Well, the cheese is definitely melty. Oh, and it's the onion side. Got a little bit of everything, including a piece of onion. I can confirm that the pasta is not fully cooked. It's like the level below al dente where it's a little bit chewy and hard at the same time, but the flavor and creativity is there. I'm gonna have to agree with this comment that said, I definitely make 1 or 2 changes, but if his family likes it this way, that's his business. 7 out of 10. A cucumber salad that apparently tastes just like a California roll. This guy blew up over the summer and he does everything cucumber, but he starts off by slicing a whole cucumber into this deli container. Let's see if mine will fit. This already is not looking good. One of the comments said, I had to spend $600 at the ER today, stitching what's left of my pinky from trying this recipe. But see how he's very mindful. very demure. I feel like this is an accident waiting to happen. He makes it look so easy. He's had a lot of practice. And someone else said, I swear your container is a pocket dimension because how do you fill it so much and still have the ability to shake it into being mixed? This is where we need to be really careful. Ta-da. Fingers are still intact, but now he adds like the imitation crab, but these happen to not be crab. They are like fish flakes. Half an avocado, some Kewpie mayo, whipped cream cheese, a little bit of soy sauce, sesame seeds. He uses MSG, but I'm gonna use my umami powder. I am running out of room. I'm wondering how this is gonna shake up. Kind of. It's still all at the top for me. Like you still see it all stuck up here. It's the magic of editing. Okay, let's try this. Let's try it with the seaweed. Better with the seaweed. I feel like it needs a little bit of acid to balance. Not 100% sure what the hype was about. 7 out of 10. I don't know which is more unhinged, boiling steak in a jar or cooking ramen and topping it with ice cream, but here we are. So she starts by adding some kind of sauce into a bowl, and I found this other creator that added a similar sauce: peanut butter, miso, Kewpie mayo, and a little bit of chili sauce. Add some boiling water, the same noodles that she used. I've tried peanut butter with ramen before. It's pretty good. Okay, let's transfer our ramen into the bowl. Then out of nowhere in her car, she adds a soft-boiled egg, cuts it right away. Ooh, look at that egg, perfect. And then she adds a vanilla ice cream cone directly into the bowl. You lost me with the ice cream. Bats eyelashes, blank stare. But the other creator said it's sweet, creamy, spicy, salty, nutty at the same time. I mean, how can it be bad, right? This feels so wrong. She then lets the ice cream melt into the soup a little bit. I've heard of people adding milk into their ramen and it's supposed to cut the spiciness, but I don't think this looks that spicy. Fight with everything. Because these ramens are already so salty, I almost feel like the sweetness of the vanilla ice cream balances it out a little bit. With the added vanilla, it's a little bit weird, but I don't hate it. It's like a lunch and dessert all in one. 7 out of 10. So there's this restaurant in New York City called Devel that started this whole checkered toast trend where you're supposed to just layer on your cream cheese and jam on thick milk toast like a checkerboard, but they sell it for $10 to $13 per piece of toast. Someone said $10 for one piece of toast, blood tweaking. I got this whole loaf for $5.50, and we're just gonna be toasting one piece up. So while it's toasting, I have my materials. They have a popular one that's all over TikTok, berries and cream. So I've got strawberry jam and some whipped cream cheese left over from my bagel order. It looks like they're using 2 different spreaders to keep them really clean. So we're gonna go in with the cream cheese first. Don't know why, but this makes me nervous. So you lay it down and then kind of press and pull. Ooh, that was fun. The jam, mine looks kind of runny. Oh, the jam was a fail, but I feel like it's more for the color. I'm gonna go a little lighter on the cream cheese, and this is gonna take me all day. So I can see why this costs so much for them to make. They paint every stroke by hand. The jam is tricky. I feel like using thick jam would make more sense, and I just ruined it. Toast never took so long, which makes me wonder how long does it take for everyone to get their order. I almost feel like piping this would be easier. Once it starts to come together though, it looks pretty cool. Final swipe. It started well. Some people online even go as far as just smearing the whole thing afterwards, but you know what? It took me time to create this art. I'm gonna enjoy it. People in the comments seriously thought this was slime. They said, that's not slime. Thank goodness. But apparently, satisfying food art all resembles slime. Cream cheese jam toast. That'll be $12, please. 7 out of 10. Checkmate. Now we have this magical rainbow unicorn grilled cheese of your dreams. And by the looks of this cheese pool, I'm guessing they didn't use just regular pizza cheese. There's gotta be a mix of other stuff. So I've gotta call in all the stretchy cheeses. This one is a Oaxaca cheese that's really melty and gooey for your quesadilla. And then we have Fontina cheese. It's also like a nuttier, stretchier cousin of the mozzarella. So let's get shredded. These cheeses are pretty soft and easy to shred. Now we gotta get our mozzarella in there. It's raining cheese. I'm just trying to mix it up. Someone said, why would would you put color on the cheese? I don't understand. Some things you just don't question. For the dyes, we're just gonna keep it pretty basic with the 4 colors you get in the food coloring box. Red, blue, green, and yellow. I feel like the cheese holds on to the dye pretty well. First things first, I gotta slather my bread with some butter, just on the outside. Now to assemble it, I'm gonna follow the rainbow pattern. I really hope this turns into pink. We'll load her up with cheese. I'm hoping that the overlapping of the yellow and the red will give us a little bit of orange. But someone said, is it just me, or did anyone else think that the cheese with all the mix would make brown? I hope this turns out, because you guys know what happened with the rainbow glitter drink. So this is done. Let's grill her up. I'm gonna go low and slow here. I usually cover up my grilled cheese just to get it steaming hot in there. Okay, let's check to see if it's nice and golden brown at the bottom. Ooh, yeah. Please don't fall apart. Okay, the cheese is not totally melted yet, so I'm gonna help it along by adding a little bit of water to steam it up. That steam is gonna help our cheese get nice, gooey, and melty. Don't worry too much about the bread getting soggy, because it's gonna crisp up anyways. I just realized I might have put the cheese on the wrong way. Like, it should have been this way to see the rainbow, but maybe we can cut it diagonally. I think they only just cut through the bread. Someone said, I'm having flashbacks to the late 2010s, back when everything was rainbow, unicorn, and just fun. What? Oh, it's not a super epic cheese pool. Wait. Oh my gosh, it keeps going. How far can I go? What the? It might end up on the ground, but you know what? This reminds me of like fruit roll-ups. And now the question everybody is asking, does it actually taste good? Tastes like regular grilled cheese. I'm just amazed that it works. 7 out of 10. Jane Brain. Remember her chicken mole and the hamburger face? And while this recipe doesn't seem too shocking, she got a ton of hate, 35,000 comments. So she started with some chicken already in her baking pan, and then she dumps a whole container of Greek yogurt. Since I don't think there is a need to dump the whole container into the chicken, I will half her recipe. Kendall Jenner teach you how to mix? Now she adds a teaspoon of paprika, oregano, turmeric, black pepper, and salt right on top of the yogurt.
I'm going in.
Maybe it's just her method of doing this unconventionally, but I've definitely seen spices and yogurt used as marinade for chicken before. But this is where it gets weird. And then she cracks in an egg and some lime. She just kind of breaks the yolks and spreads the egg right on top. This person has clearly never cooked. But someone else said, girl, to save time, mix the yogurt and the rest of the ingredients in a bowl before putting in the chicken. I mean, this isn't that different from Zach Choi's barbecue crusted chicken. Then she covers it and refrigerates for 30 minutes. In the meantime, she mixes her flour dredging with seasoning. Paprika, oregano, pepper, and salt. Personally, I would have added some garlic powder too. So then she dredges the chicken and transfers it to a plate. And then she starts frying it in some hot oil. She didn't specify in the video what kind of oil it was, but 19,000 people agreed with this comment. Ain't no way you used olive oil to fry that. Did I miss the part where she said olive oil? I'm just gonna mix mine with some avocado oil, which has a higher smoking point. Let's drop the chickens in. So the chicken's cooked, but most of the people in the comments are doubting it's cooked enough. Anyone else unconvinced that it's fully cooked? And then she cuts another wedge off to try right away. Yeah, looks good. She then says, I will never make chicken another way. It's her favorite way. I like that she seasoned the chicken both in the marinade and the dredging. I'm gonna have to agree with this comment that got 56,000 likes. The end result looks great. The path to get there was the biggest roller coaster of nope I've ever been on. But I'm not gonna be a hater. I actually think this is a creative concoction. 7 out of 10. Now we're making lazy mac and cheese, and this creator says never buy boxed mac and cheese again and make this one instead. But we'll see how much better this one is. She starts by adding 1.5 cups of chicken broth or water, but you have to add salt to the water. Then she adds 2/3 cup of short cut pasta, to which someone asked, what kind of pasta is that? It kind of looks like a cut up elbow, or like the stuff that I would use to make necklaces. But this pasta is actually called Italine. Okay, I'm supposed to boil it until the water is almost all gone, but I want to see if this is al dente. It's so small and cute. I'm only gonna cook it for maybe 2 more minutes because it's already soft. Someone else had the opposite problem. I had to use more water than listed, so who even knows? I think that looks pretty good because I still want my mac and cheese to be creamy. Speaking of which, we're gonna add a little bit of heavy cream and then we're gonna melt the cheese. The cheese is actually melting beautifully with the sauce. I was a little worried it would curdle up and be kind of clumpy. She hits it with a little bit of black pepper and now all that's left to do is serve. Ooh, the way that there is a stretch in the cheese, so creamy already. Served like this, it looks so gourmet. I tell myself that cheese has protein and that makes it a meal. Same girl, same. This qualifies as lazy because I didn't have to drain the pasta or add all the other stuff in. It's just 4 ingredients in one pot. I don't know if this is better than boxed mac and cheese. It's good. There's just something about that other cheese powder. There's like a gritty texture to it because we didn't make the sauce the right way. It was a shortcut, lazy way, and I can tell. 7 out of 10. Who needs flowers when you can have a whole bouquet of eggs? These days, nothing attracts a girl more than a guy that can afford eggs. So we're actually gonna turn these into a bouquet and we want them to be nice and hard. So I'm gonna fill this cup with water up to here and we'll just make half a dozen hard-boiled eggs. That should take around 9 minutes. Unfortunately, we have some cracked eggs. But now I need to quickly dunk them into an ice water bath so that they can cool down and then we can peel and arrange our bouquet. But steaming the eggs helps the shell just slide right off. Exceptional. I can go on all day with the egg puns. Extraordinary. I'll save the rest for later. Okay, now that the eggs are all peeled, it looks like we get into carving. So I'm thinking we're gonna carve the skinny portion, but to make it really look like a tulip, there's like an X pattern on top that she starts with, and then we dig into the sides a little bit. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, there you go. My egg yolk is all the way at the bottom, so am I doing it the wrong way? Okay, maybe we just need to do a deeper cut. It's already not turning out good, guys. Nope. We definitely need to go from the bottom. I already messed up my first egg. Okay, now we get a little yolk reveal. I have to do the same thing to the other side, except she goes deep into the sides to reveal the beautiful yellow yolk. I think once we get the hang of this, it'll become easier. And here's my tulip. Doesn't look great, but we're not done yet. I'm gonna finish these. We'll save these egg whites. I don't know to make what, but we definitely have to go from the bottom because I feel the yolk all sitting at the bottom. There we go. Now that kind of looks like a tulip a little bit. A little bit. We have to add the stem, to which everyone was asking, what is that? I wasn't sure if they just took like a stem from a real tulip to push it in, but I have a better idea. What if we use green onions? This could go wrong. This could be good. I don't know. I'm gonna cut the green onions at like a sharp angle, that, and then poke a hole through the bottom of the egg, and then we're gonna jam it in. Okay, hopefully this will also push up the egg yolk, but it kind of looks like a flower, like a broken flower. They make it look so easy. Oh no. No! You know what? Let me get my display platter. I'll just make it look a lot nicer from here. Yay, my first perfect one, although the leaf is like bent the wrong way. That's so cute. It's an illusion. Oh, I like that. The green onion's just like poking through the eggshell from up here, so I can't stick it too far. And then this one can go right there. You know, that's not half bad. I wish I could see a little bit more of the yellow from the egg yolk. I'm gonna stamp this carrot and spread some little flowers around. No bouquet would be complete without a beautiful ribbon. Everyone kept saying this would be perfect for Easter, but you know what I think? This looks like an egg-expensive bouquet, and one that I might rather have over some fresh flowers these days. 7 out of 10. After seeing this creator make this, she says you'll never want to make chicken another way. She basically is making a chicken lollipop, and she starts off with the chicken and the meat already crowned and balled. Everyone in the comments wanted to know, how did you fold the skin down? I'm guessing just make a few snips. If your mind is going there right now, yes, there were those comments too. Oh, I didn't realize a drumstick has all these like tendons. Because someone said, wouldn't the skin be all gummy? I'm guessing she probably just cut the skin all off because there's just no way. Okay. it. There's gotta be like a slit made somewhere. And I think that's what it's supposed to look like. Maybe, I don't know. Who eats chicken like this? Pinoys call this chicken lollipops. We usually serve these at kids' birthday celebrations. But yeah, not that burnt. But now she drizzles it with some olive oil, seasons it with soy sauce, seasoning salt. So I'm just gonna do salt and Cajun seasoning. Then she mushes it around, let it coat in the sauce. Dunks it into the cornstarch. It's supposed to make it nice and crispy. Egg, and then some Italian breadcrumb seasoning. It looks okay. Now let's fry these babies up. She didn't peel off the skin. God. All right, now we're just gonna go ahead and deep fry it. People in the comments were saying you're about to start a grease fire because her oil level was so high.
Should we call the fire department now or?
Okay, at this point, I think we should just do it one at a time. The oil does bubble and rise quite a bit. I'm glad I read the comment. Okay, so she didn't have a bigger pot for the grease. I made the same mistake and I don't have a bigger pot. I'm just gonna dip it in this way. Oh my gosh. It's giving caramel apple chicken vibes. Plus Flintstones because of the bones. But then she garnishes it with some parsley. Let's cut it open. It looks pretty good. I ended up peeling the skin off. I think she left hers on actually. Regardless, it gets cooked throughout and then it just becomes kind of like a chicken roll like this. I'm gonna say it's not terrible. I mean, let's be honest, anything fried and coated is so delicious. It could use a little more flavor. Probably don't need to fold down the chicken like that, but everybody is so creative. So I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. This is the easiest snack ever, and she says it literally only takes 5 minutes. But so many people in the comments were so confused by what she added because it went so fast. Let me break it down for you. She starts with refried beans that she's gonna spread onto the tortilla. Someone said, I solidly thought that was peanut butter and you had me terrified. To which the creator said, LMAO, please report my account if I ever add peanut butter to something like this. I love when a creator has a sense of humor. Next, she adds on rice, which you can clearly see. And next, she adds some cheese, but someone said, I straight up thought you put 2 cloves of garlic, but then had to scroll through the comments to realize it was cheese. Because someone else thought that they were being helpful by listing out the ingredients. Beans, rice, corn, and cilantro on a tortilla. The comments section on this video had me rolling. Then we're gonna roll it up, spray a little oil, and air fry it. I'm guessing for maybe 5 minutes? It appears that my taquitos are a little too big for my air fryer, so I had to turn them into mini burritos. Someone called the creator out and said, the easiest snack ever, ... proceeds to cook a meal. I'll stick with goldfish. If this isn't lazy enough for you, ooh. Do you feel like this is cooked enough? I feel like it could be a little crispier, but honestly, this looks so good. And then she proceeds to dip it in pre-made guacamole. That was faster and more delicious than a Taco Bell drive-thru. 8 out of 10. We have that viral breakfast sandwich. Who remembers this trick from pandemic times? So she starts off with her eggs that she just pours in. I need to prep mine first, so I'm gonna use 3 eggs. Add some salt and pepper. All right, it looks like she buttered her pan, and then she adds in the eggs. Then she places 2 bread slices. Oh shoot, it's like super big. Oh no. Okay, and then we have to flip it over. A little bit of maneuvering here. Wah! Hey, hey. I'm using milk bread, so hopefully this will be really good. Layer on some cheese, tomatoes, avocado, and this one's different for me. I can't say that I've ever had lettuce with eggs in a breakfast sandwich before. I'd probably sub it for spinach. So here, a lot of people got really mad that she cut the eggs off instead of folded it, so I don't want you guys to get mad at me. I'm gonna fold it. Oh, our breakfast sandwich is done. I need to cut this in half and see what it looks like inside. But I do have to say, if I'm gonna have an egg breakfast sandwich, I'm gonna need ketchup. Someone made this and they said, actually really fire. I had it this morning, really easy to make, tastes amazing. It's pretty good, but it's still weird to me to have lettuce in the morning. 8 out of 10. Now we're making egg fried rice with just 6 ingredients in 10 minutes. Skeptics are already saying, 10 minutes? I'm just kidding. Fried rice should only take 4 minutes. I don't know what it is about egg fried rice. Why is everyone so critical? But she starts off by chopping her green onions. I'm gonna get rid of the white parts because I hate them. Now she cracks in 4 eggs. This recipe better be good. In this economy? Now she says everything happens in 1 pan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought most fried rice are just cooked in 1 pan. She starts by pouring oil into her wok, gets it nice and hot, and then she cooks off her egg first. She scrambles it just until they're set and then moves it to the side. Adds in her day-old rice. I'm using my leftover takeout rice. Breaks it up, tosses it with the eggs. Now sweep it all to the side. So I already made a mistake. The heat was on too high. It kind of like browned my eggs. She adds more oil, tosses in the green onion, and then she seasons it with regular soy sauce and sesame oil. One last toss. Someone said this was the best fried rice I've ever made. Now let's see if this is good enough for the internet critics.
Huh? Where the salt and MSG? It look better if you don't use soy sauce. That does in the rice, okay? Because you know everything. Even review makeup for you, okay? Okay. Video coming soon on Hey, it's Honeysuckle.
I don't know what the best egg fried rice tastes like, but that is pretty darn good. The eggs are nicely soft, even though they're kind of brown, but the rice got nice and fluffy. Flavor's good. This also didn't even take me 10 minutes. 8 out of 10. Now we're gonna make some flatbread, except instead of using flour, we're gonna be using cottage cheese. Delicious. But the recipe is pretty easy. She starts by adding a cup of cottage cheese, 2 eggs, onion and garlic powder, Italian seasoning, blends it up. Gotta make sure we blend away all the cheese curds because I feel like that's the worst part about cottage cheese. It's just like a watery, kind of like a pancake batter texture. And then she pours it onto a baking sheet, spreads it out, and then she sprinkles on whatever seasoning she says you like. Someone said, I made this yesterday, added garlic, everything bagel, and Parmesan, and it was surprisingly good. That actually does sound pretty good as a topping, so I'm gonna try that. Someone else said, oh my god, this was so gross. I had great hopes too. I did, however, like it with only cottage cheese though. She bakes it up at 350 degrees for 40 minutes. And our cottage cheese flatbread is done. It smells really good. But I'm interested to see what it looks like inside because someone said mine stayed watery and soggy and was gross. Mine doesn't feel like it's watery or soggy. It seems a little more browner than hers. She added a little spread, some meat. I sliced this ham myself in our last gadget video. Okay, and then she folds it over like a wrap and it looks like a nice leathery handbag. I can confirm that this doesn't taste like egg and it actually does taste like bread with that extra everything bagel seasoning. 8 out of 10. Next up we have a seemingly unassuming peanut butter toast. Let's toast our bread real quick. Then she adds a lake of peanut butter. It's gotta be like the creamy natural kind. Very drippy. And here is when things get unhinged. She says if you're watching my video and think it's gross because you've never had it, it's because you've never had it. If you've had it, you know, like, that's delicious. But then instead of jam or honey, she puts on lettuce leaves. No stalks. People in the comments were actually very supportive. No, this makes sense because it's like another version of ants on a log, which is basically celery filled with peanut butter and raisins. People be eating veggie spring rolls dipped in peanut sauce all the time. This isn't that far off. I mean, a little bit. This is like breakfast and lunch all in one. The peanut butter brings out the sweetness in the lettuce, but somehow it works. I mean, she says it's crunchy and refreshing at the same time. 8 out of 10. And this one is as easy as it gets because she claims it's an easy and delicious seafood dinner that you make in a crock pot. She starts by adding an entire orchard of lemon slices into the crock pot. Straight to the comments. That's at least $28 worth of lemon slices right there. I'm gonna pare everything down into my mini crock pot and just use 4. Then she says she grabs her raw shrimp, but I think she meant frozen, and throws them in right on top. It looks like they're the jumbo ones with the peel and tail still on. Someone said, first you gotta thaw and wash those. Not gonna mention the rest, so I'm gonna take it from here. Now she seasons the shrimp with some fresh thyme, parsley, and she says dinner would not be dinner without some fresh garlic cloves. That's just gonna melt right into the shrimp. Add some salted butter, Old Bay, some dried oregano, some salt, and pepper. This is gonna be one very well seasoned seafood dish. But she's not done yet. Usually people finish off the dish with some Parmigiano Reggiano before eating, but she throws it in all together. And then she says, put the lid on that crock pot. It is stuffed and puffed. Shrimp takes maybe all of 3 minutes to cook on the stove, but she's taking it to a whole new level by putting it to the crock pot, setting it on low for 3 hours because she says shrimp cooks super quick and she doesn't want it to overcook. So I'm gonna set it and forget it in the back. And the moment I've been waiting for because it's been smelling so good. Our crock pot shrimp dinner. Is it overcooked? Is it rubbery? Or is it perfect? Ooh, I don't know. It looks cooked. It shrunk down a significant amount. Wow, there's a lot of liquid in here. Don't know why you needed so much lemon, but she takes out a couple lemon slices, puts it on her plate. My mouth is actually watering. Let's try the shrimp. The ones that fell in are nice and saucy. They do look like they shrunk though. And then she eats it straight with the peel and everything. I would have preferred to peel it first, but here goes. Surprisingly, extremely juicy and tender. Not rubbery for cooking the shrimp for so long. I guess you can say the peel protected it. I never would have thought to cook shrimp in a crock pot before. You learn something new on TikTok every day. Not anymore though. I'm gonna give this recipe an 8 out of 10. All right. I think we have another unhinged but potentially delicious recipe by none other than Matthew McConaughey. He recently went on a podcast to explain what he does to his bad tuna salad, and it starts like this.
I'm gonna make a bat tuna fish. Get your tuna. Next, you gotta watch how much lemon and vinegar you add, because if you add the mayo mixed with wasabi.
Oh, shut the f up!
Come on.
I didn't even think about putting wasabi.
Light green. So
You're blowing my mind right now.
And then all the rest of the stuff from the chopped red onions or the dill pickle, gherkin, I'll finely dice the dill pickle gherkins, crispy jalapeno chips.
Is he talking about these crispy jalapeno chips or these crispy jalapeno chips? I feel like they might actually be these ones because these will get soggy.
I'll go with some apple for some sweetness, a touch of agave.
I don't have agave, I'm just gonna use some honey.
Always got corn.
Really?
Oh yeah, some frozen green peas. As every redneck knows, is it better right then or is it better covered after you put it in the fridge the next day?
I think he lost me somewhere around the green apples and the agave. Someone said this actually sounds like the worst tuna fish salad in the whole entire world. But then he goes on to say, I'm not a redneck, so I don't know, but I kind of want to try this right now and then we'll see how it tastes the next day too. I feel like he might have had the munchies when he was creating this recipe. I mean, he is known for that, right? There's a lot of things going on in here. Try it tomorrow when it's all coagulated. Let's mix it up. I mean, it pretty much just looks the same. Okay, I'll get the piece at the bottom where everything kind of got a chance to meld together. He's actually right. It does taste better the next day. Somehow the sweetness from the honey and apples just balanced everything out. The only gripe I have is the jalapeno chips are now a little soggy. But I have an idea. What if we made a tuna salad wrap with our cottage cheese bread? Actually though, this is delicious. 8 out of 10. This is an egg quesadilla with 6.4 million views, and someone said it's like a Mexican pizza, but better. So they start by adding some oil into the pan and then fries up some tomatoes. Adds a little bit of salt and pepper for flavor. And then on the side, scrambles an egg, adds it in. My egg didn't quite land right, but I feel like I have to work fast so that the egg on top doesn't set. And then we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top. Green onions. Oh, it's setting already. Someone said, didn't have green onions, but I added chopped onions and it was so delicious. Hopefully it sticks. And this is the part where someone said, I love these, but it was so hard to flip. Oh man. You know what? I have a hack for this. Ah yeah. Worked like a charm, except my egg broke. Just have to accept the fact that I am not a good tortilla flipper. Slides it onto our cutting board, and now we slice it up. Let me show you guys the inside. Nice and melty. I feel like some avocado and hot sauce would be so good on this. The tomato is super hot and juicy, so be careful if you try this. Don't burn your mouth. But it's definitely giving me Mexican pizza vibes. 8 out of 10. And now with 97.1 million views, this creator calls it mushrooms and fries, except it's mussels and fries. His ASMR video sounds like a symphony. He starts by peeling his potatoes and cutting them into fries. And then he puts everything into a bowl, pours in some water to let them soak and remove all the starch. And then he goes, diving? Someone asked, did you just ... swim to the ocean? Yeah, he literally went mussel diving. And someone says, I never knew mussels were found like that. I found mine at the grocery store and they already cleaned it, so we don't have to. But here's some ASMR. And now he washes his mussels and sets it aside. And then he removes his potatoes, pats it dry on the towel, and moves it to the frying basket where he fills oil into his deep fryer. You know me and gadgets. This is hot oil. And just does a quick first fry. Now, to make the mussel, he starts by chopping up shallots. I went all out for this video. This is some bougie butter from France. In a pot, he melts some butter, stirs in the shallot, and then on the side, ties together some thyme and bay leaf inside a rope, then throws it back into the pot. Pours in some wine, closes the lid, lets it cook for a minute. I gotta make sure the mussels are all closed and not open so I don't get food poisoning. And then he chops up some parsley like this, throws it back into the pot, and back to the fries, give it a second fry. And then he seasons it with salt, tosses it, and now we plate. And there's our moule frites. Someone in the comments said, you could literally pull any girl. You took cooking from scratch to a whole nother level. He was making a beat and I was vibing to it. I feel like Charlie Puth should take a sound from this dude's video and make a song and they could collab together. That's some good sauce. Super fancy. I'm gonna give his mushroom and fries 8 out of 10. Now, I don't know if there's many things more satisfying than this one. You have a giant foot-long pasta that looks honestly kind of like a worm, but it's covered in this beautiful pink sauce. And luckily, this creator wrote down the recipe, so it makes it easier on us. Okay, so she starts by adding some ricotta cheese into her blender. I've seen people use ricotta, feta, goat cheese. This will make the sauce nice and creamy. Some cooked beets. She uses 2 beets. Mine's pretty big. The problem is I need to peel it and I don't have any gloves. Pink pasta, pink sweater, pink hands. Raw garlic, looks like some seasoning, salt, black pepper, red pepper, some olive oil, and juice from half a lemon. That's supposed to just keep everything nice and bright. And she whirls it up, and I guess that's our sauce. That is the most beautiful pink. Now mine looks a lot darker than hers, but then I realized she said that she bought the pre-steamed beets like these already in the packet, which I feel like it loses some color over time. But this one from Fresh Beets looks so good. So this type of pasta that she's using, everybody wanted to know, where did you get them? Package delivery. Okay, that was literally perfect timing. I'm not even lying to you guys because I was gonna use these, which looks pretty cool. It looks kind of like a candle, but I ordered these online and I didn't think they'd get here in time. I'm still not sure it's the right noodles. Do we go for fat and swirly or do we go for skinny and swirly? This kind of looks like hair. We're gonna salt the water like the sea. Are they gonna fit? Oh yeah. Okay, our noodles are looking a little bit wormy and soft, and I have a feeling I'm gonna have to save a little bit of pasta water. Okay, so into the same pot, I'm gonna pour our pink pasta sauce. Look at the color. Someone said I would have gotten lazy and put pink and red food coloring in Alfredo sauce to make it pink and call it a day. But then it would be artificial and it wouldn't look this beautiful. It honestly looks like nail polish, or if I melted every berry lipstick color together. So satisfying. Be very gentle so it doesn't break. Swish it around. Oh, it's like absorbing the sauce so well. These are also very fragile. One wrong pull and it's gonna break on you. So I'm gonna do what she does and plate it one noodle at a time and give it a nice swirl. Okay, the first one was not great. Now she grates fresh Parmesan cheese on top of the pasta. So beautiful. A little basil for garnish, and let's grab a whole noodle. And hopefully I don't get it all over me. That's actually so good. It tastes a little bit like beets, but it's creamy, cheesy. I am a fan, and this would have been so perfect for Valentine's Day. 8 out of 10. This next one has 18 million views, and I'm not sure if it's because the recipe is really good or because someone said I fell asleep with my phone on while watching this video ... for 8 hours. Maybe it's both, but we're making scrambled oats. And she starts by dropping a ripe banana into our bowl, mashes it, then she cracks an egg and adds some oats. A 3-ingredient recipe, I love that. But for 8 hours on a 10-second video on loop, how many views would you actually get for that? So it looks like she has grease in the pan, but let's just say she added some butter. So I'm gonna go ahead and melt it and then add in our oat mixture. She shapes it like a pancake and tries to flip it over. Someone called her out and said, why did I feel like she meant to make it a pancake, but then decided it turned bad, so made up scrambled oats. She did say introducing, but also calls it kind of like soft granola. But someone else also said, it's so good, but takes so long to cook. It smells sweet, but then I see chunks of scrambled eggs right here and I'm confused. But now she adds it to a bowl with yogurt and then tops it with some berries. Okay, I'm gonna try it with a little bit of everything. See, look at that chunk of scrambled egg right there. You mostly taste the texture of the oats, not so much the egg. A little hint of banana in there. It's actually not bad. It's exactly how she described it, like soft granola. 8 out of 10. What is that, an edible lava lamp? It's supposed to be a rainbow glitter drink. It looks like she adds some kind of syrup at the bottom. Elderberry, I was only able to find grenadine, but mine looks a little thin, so hopefully it works out. And then she fills her cup with ice. And of course, for something aesthetic like this, you gotta use the good ice. Oh, that's satisfying. I'm gonna need like double the amount of ice. Then she adds some glitter. She's using silver, but I'm gonna go for the gold. Tell me when to stop. Now she adds in this tropical Red Bull flavor. Whoa. The grenadine mixed with this turns it into like this amazing orange color. That is so pretty already. And then she fills the next layer with like a Powerade. This doesn't look exactly the same, but hopefully it turns out just as beautiful. Oh, it's crazy. The blue kind of mixes at the bottom, but it bounces back up top. I gotta leave enough room because we have another layer of purple, which everyone in the comment asked, what is that dark purple blue on top? Turns out she's adding something called butterfly pea flower powder, also known as blue matcha. I was today years old when I learned there is such thing as blue matcha. Ooh. Wow, so pretty. Okay, let's see what happens when we add it to the cup. Float to the top. No. Now it just totally took over the middle blue part. Sad. Instead of a rainbow glitter, this reminds me of a sunset, which is also really pretty. But let's see if we can get it as glittery and magical. Oh my gosh. If this is not the most beautiful sunset color, I'm not even mad that it's not a rainbow like theirs. We created our own art. Look at the purple here and the pinks. Does it actually taste good? I don't know. It's like a tropical, fizzy, pineapple-y drink. I'm not mad at it at all. 8 out of 10. We're now scrambling eggs with an espresso machine. But he starts by adding 3 eggs into a cup, a little bit of butter, and then there's specific directions on how to do this. You put the steamed one just below the surface, and then you start cooking. Everyone's thinking the same thing, immediately no. And look, it's ruining the steamed one. Then he says you'll know it's done when it starts to form little curds, I guess like this, and the steam will start to bubble because it's solidifying. Wait, wait, oh my god, what is happening? That was an experience. Kind of worked? And the comments are right, it did ruin the steam wand. Look at this cooked egg stuck on it. And now he adds a pinch of salt and then some herbs. I only have green onions. Mixes it up. Oh wait, it's like it gives me a steamed egg custard, but it's part wet, part firm. At least you can say it's fluffy. That is quite nice. The eggs are nice and creamy and fluffy. It's actually not bad. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm gonna go ahead and call this a creative concoction. 8 out of 10. This next one looks like it's a 2-in-1 deal. It's taco night, but you're craving a Big Mac. So she starts off by laying down 2 tortillas and then she presses on raw ground meat. I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure where this is going, but some people said, that's foul. I feel like raw meat straight on the tortilla, whether cooked or not, still doesn't feel edible. It's like a burger when you don't have buns. Not gonna lie, does feel a little wrong. But also, are we not seasoning it with salt and pepper? So then to cook it, she puts it on the frying pan face down. Is the meat gonna actually stay on the tortilla? Is it gonna be cooked all the way? Whoa. So I don't know if it's because of the steam, but the meat got a little watery and it shrunk a ton. As a slice of cheese gets it nice and melty. All right, now she adds her toppings, starting with some lettuce, half tomato slices, pickles, a little bit of onions, and fries? I mean, we're not even doing this as a side. She's going all in on this burger taco here. And finally, she adds some burger sauce, special sauce. Let's give this a try. Oh, my taco burger. Can't say it's not a juicy burger. Okay, someone said the meat on the inside probably ain't cooked, and let me check on that for you. There was a lot in that bite. It kind of tastes more like an In-N-Out burger than it does a Big Mac, and I can confirm the meat is fully cooked. 9 out of 10. And now with 5.7 million views, we're not just making your regular overnight oats. No, we're making mango blended overnight oats. So she starts by adding some rolled oats into her blender's cup. Someone said, the thing I hate most about oats is its texture. Next, she adds some fresh mango chunks. Thank you for not putting bananas in it. I'm severely allergic, so I'm always looking for recipes without it. Now she adds some milk, Greek yogurt, a little bit of vanilla extract, maple syrup, and a pinch of salt. Cap it up and blend. Blended oats, ooh, I like the sound of that. Is it textured like yogurt? I mean, it definitely looks like it. A little bit of a chunky yogurt. And then into a cute jar, she adds more mango chunks and pours the oat mixture right on top. Mine looks a little more chunky than hers. I'll fill it almost to the top because we have to make a white chocolate shell. Yes. Yes. I'm gonna start with some coconut oil, add some white chocolate, and then we're gonna microwave it for about 30 seconds until it's nice, melty, and thin. I'm gonna pour just enough. It kind of looks like condensed milk a little bit. They don't call it overnight oats for nothing. So into the fridge it goes. It's the next day, and our chocolate shell has hardened. But now, I need to crack it. Oh, what? Oh, it's not cracking. Oh, is this dessert or breakfast? That would be a fun way to wake up in the morning for sure. I would say compared to normal overnight oats, the texture is a little more gummy because the oatmeal was blended. The flavor is on point, and I feel like I'm having dessert for breakfast. 9 out of 10. Maybe I can interest you in a chocolate oatmeal breakfast cookie. This one has 23.6 million views, and she starts by adding oats, mashed bananas. Wait, no eggs? She continues to add some baking powder, some protein powder, coconut oil, cinnamon, and some milk. Now she mashes everything with a fork. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my spatula. It's way easier to work with this way. But now she adds it into her air fryer basket with parchment paper, smashes it down like a burger, and then studs it with some chocolate chips. That is one giant cookie. Now, because this is called a 10-minute air fryer breakfast cookie, somebody said, bold of you to assume I have 10 minutes. Somebody else said 10 minutes to cook this was too long, and somebody else said, just tried this for 8 minutes at 350, and it's basically a charcoal briquette. We'll do 4 next time. I'm gonna check on it at 4 minutes. It's been 4 minutes and it's looking very golden brown on top. And apparently this is a cookie that you eat with a fork. Ooh. Definitely got the crispy texture on the outside, and it's looking to be a little bit soft and gooey on the inside. I'm actually super surprised. That was really good. And it really does look like one of those giant bakery cookies. 9 out of 10. This caramel popcorn by Jane Brain, because nobody does it better than her. I'm gonna miss her. But she starts by adding an egg in the middle of a hot pan. I've never seen popcorn made with an egg, so this is gonna be interesting. And melts a whole stick of butter. Then she fills the pan with these hard caramels. Honestly, I didn't even know these hard caramels could melt to become a caramel sauce like this. Is it actually working? This is a lot of butter. So many people in the comments are asking, can you please tell me the purpose of the egg? You know the egg was just here for the comments. Okay, so the caramel sauce is melting. She stirs it around and adds her popcorn kernels and stirs it until it's nice and coated. Then she sprinkles on some sea salt, saying there's nothing better than salted caramel. So her caramel looked pretty burnt by the time that the popcorn kernel finally popped. So I don't know about this. Maybe we're trying to make like Cracker Jacks? It's taking a long time. Well, finally. All right. Let's cover it up, and then she just keeps on shaking. I think my egg cracked, honestly. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think it's done. I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't look half bad. Well, let me take out the egg. People in the comments were really mad and said that the caramel looked burnt, but I would say it looks like a nice amber color. Okay, so while this cool, I'm actually very curious about how the egg turned out. It's covered in caramel and it cracked. It's barely cooked. Definitely soft boiled. Let's just say she was multitasking with this one. But now the true test. Hard as a rock. It's actually pretty good, and she's right, it is better than the store. What? I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm gonna give her homemade caramel popcorn a 9 out of 10. Now with 17 million views, if you like cereal, this is honey butter cereal that someone said is the elite version of Honey Bunches of oats. This is just the cheaper version of cornflakes. But for some reason, he starts by pouring his into a bowl. I'm just gonna keep mine in the bag. And then he cuts and melts some butter into a pan. Then he adds some kind of brownish looking sugar. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna just use turbinado. Pour in some honey, let it bubble a little bit, and then we pour our cereal right in. Someone said, just buy one already made with honey and sugar. Ooh, it's like browning. Ooh, now we have a caramel honey butter. I gotta add a pinch of salt. It's like a caramelized Honey Bunches of oats, and it smells so good. Now I understand why he had that extra bowl, because I need room to mix it. Now we let it cool for a little bit before we transfer it into a smaller cereal bowl. The clusters are more defined, and this is what the creator calls Honey Joy. That's actually amazing. I love that you get a little bit of that caramely bit. It almost reminds me of toffee. Definitely deserves 9 out of 10. Frosted Flakes could never. Now with 12.7 million views, we're making caviar pasta. He starts by opening up his caviar. Mine isn't quite as big as his, but this thing cost me $100. Whoa. It's not even all the way filled like his. But then he scoops out a tiny little bit, puts it on his hand and tastes it. It's salty, it's kind of slimy, briny. I was fully expecting for it to have like a pop. But back to our pasta. He starts by melting his butter and then he adds some cream, mixes it up, and then he opens up. Apparently it's $1,000 bottle of wine, but I just have my Trader Joe's one here, $15. Adds some lemon juice, mixes it up, salt and pepper, and then cooks up his pasta, salt it like the sea. Cooks it until it's al dente, and then he tosses it back in his cream sauce with some pasta water. The sauce is still looking a little thin. I'm gonna let it continue to cook down. Some Parmesan. It's gonna continue to thicken as it cools. And now he plates his pasta, adds his caviar, a lot of caviar, to which someone said Alfredo. Let's go with a little bit more, cause we bougie like that. Garnishes it with some lemon zest and a hint of parsley. Another comment said, that's like a $4,000 plate of pasta right there. I don't know about 4,000, but it's definitely the most bougie and expensive plate of pasta I've ever made. Apparently you're not supposed to eat caviar with metal, but it did come in this tin jar, so I don't know. But one of the comments said, what about the metal fork? And he said, it mainly touched the pasta, I guess. So let's just try to touch the pasta. What? This is so good. Can't be eating this on the regular. It's so good. Okay. It's salty, lemony, bright, creamy, and just delicious. I'm gonna give this caviar pasta 9 out of 10. Next up, we have a burrata caprese salad situation. So this creator starts by placing a burrata into his bowl and breaks it open to reveal the delicious creaminess inside. He then proceeds to grab his tomato, except it's not a regular tomato, it's a frozen tomato. And then he grates it right on top of the burrata. A little unhinged, right? I don't know how I feel about this, but someone said frozen tomatoes will be tasteless with ice crystals. Actually, nothing I want to try. I think I threw up in my mouth a little. My fingers feel like they're frostbitten. But he's not done yet. We gotta drizzle it with olive oil and balsamic syrup like a sundae, a little sprinkle of flaky salt, and then garnishes it with a sprig of basil and a dash of black pepper. And how do you serve this? Well, he then grabs it and eats it like an ice cream bowl. Here's your Italian ice cheese. I can confirm I've never gotten brain freeze from a tomato. Once you get over the initial icy shock, it's actually not that bad. The tomato ice crystals, they are not flavorless. And while the preparation is a little bit interesting, it could be a Michelin star. 9 out of 10. We have avocado pickles. So she starts off the video by saying, you know your avocado is ripe when you can crack it like an egg. Someone said, the way I blank stared and gasped when you said crack it like an egg. Here goes. I can't crack mine like an egg. Oh. Oh, and then she just squeezes it out. This feels so wrong, but also so satisfying. And just coyly takes the avocado pit out. Then she chops up some cucumber, some red onion, some fresh and dried dill, minced garlic, 2 to 3 tablespoons of white vinegar, some salt, pepper, and a little bit of ground mustard. Okay, let's give this a mix. We'll just call this Mediterranean guacamole. We're not done yet. Now to a little bowl, she's gonna add some maple syrup and sriracha, and then she brushes it onto a tortilla. This is turning out to be a kind of a weird combo. This is gonna be so spicy. We'll bake it off for 2 to 4 minutes and we'll go from there. Here's our crispy tortilla. Looks pretty good actually. And now she spreads her avocado pickle right on top. We'll just try this little corner right here. It's like a Mediterranean Asian tostada. People were torn in the comments. One said, why is this so attractive? While the other one said, this is foul. Wait, aside from the sriracha being a little too spicy, this combo actually is really good. Something about it, like the sweet, the salty, the sour, and a little bit spicy. My mouth can't even handle it, but I like it. 9 out of 10. Now this creator starts by saying, bet you didn't know you can make a steak like this, and proceeds to put it into a jar. Is this gonna fit into the jar? No salt, no pepper, okay. At least it fit. Someone said, "You're right, I didn't know that you can make steak like this because no one in their right mind would make a steak like this." Then she grabs her onion, cuts it in half, places it inside the jar, snug as a bug. She uses garlic, but I'm gonna freshly mince mine. Now she stuffs it with a sprig of fresh rosemary, some cut up cherry tomatoes. It's giving kebab vibes, except actually not. Salt and pepper, and a nice drizzle of olive oil. And then I bet you're wondering, where is she going with this? She caps it up and then she gives it a nice shimmy shake. This is a new way of making a Bloody Mary cocktail. It looks nice and distributed. And here's where things get unhinged. She proceeds to add a kitchen towel into the pot. Somebody explain this to me, it is a fire hazard. Places the jar on top of the towel. I feel like I should put the spices side down. And then she pours water to cover the jar, brings it to a boil, and then cooks it for an hour. Stay down. If you think about it though, this is actually a different method of sous vide. So many people are thinking the same thing, but why? Someone else even said, "I'd rather stand out in a snowstorm to grill than do that." Is it gonna be the most tender sous vide steak I've ever had, or is it gonna be tough and gray? We'll find out in an hour. I'm gonna place it back here to continue cooking, and we'll revisit this later in the video. Oh, will it be the best steak I've ever had, or will it taste like a wet rag? Juicy. At least the rag didn't burn up. Ooh, whoa, that was airtight. I'm not gonna lie, it smells incredible. It smells very, very good. It's the texture that worries me a little bit. Parts of the steak is still red. Looks medium cooked. Now this could become a very good piece of steak, or it could just be a tough mess. Wait, okay, wait a minute here. The inside is completely cooked through and I'm not having any issues with cutting at all. It's almost cutting through like butter. We're gonna grab a center piece right here. Is this more like sous vide or sous no? That's actually very good. The flavor just locked inside of that bite. It's not tough, it's not chewy. I almost feel like we could let it go for another half hour. Oh my gosh, this might not be the last time I use a jar to make steak or even chicken. This is amazing. I'm gonna have to give this 9 out of 10. This next one is a lazy noodle recipe that looks like it took longer than 10 minutes to make. Am I slow? Because this looks like 25 minutes. But she starts by adding garlic, green onions, and chili into a bowl. I'm using Korean chili flakes for this one. Pour some hot oil right on top. Oh, that sizzle is so satisfying. Then she adds soy sauce, rice vinegar, some grated cheese, and cream cheese. All this cheese in here is gonna make it so creamy. And someone said, I just tried these and oh my, they taste just like the bulldog samyang carbonara noodles that I've been trying to get a hold of. Now let's cook up our noodles. I'm using the curly noodles. I'm not even draining it, it's going straight into the bowl. Let's give it a good toss. Oh yeah. That is creamy. But someone in the comments said, mine didn't come out as creamy as yours. What am I doing wrong perhaps? Add a little bit more of the cooked ramen water. It'll get everything loosened up and add that extra starchy creaminess like that. Magic. I love how easy that was. It was not too spicy for me, which is perfect. I also can confirm this did not take 25 minutes. I'm gonna give these lazy noodles 9 out of 10. We have Zach Choi making this barbecue crispy chicken. He starts off with his signature move by stabbing the chicken 100 times. Oddly satisfying. Then he adds in a bunch of spices. I'm not really sure what they are, but I'm just gonna guess that it's garlic powder, smoked paprika, and cumin. Maybe a little salt too. Then he did something some people thought was sacrilegious. The chicken was cooked in its own egg. It didn't really mix that well. Okay, now he dumps barbecue chips. These are my favorite. Slices it open in the middle, dumps it onto the baking sheet, covers it with plastic wrap, and pounds away. People were so mad. Bruh, break up the chips in the bag? You wouldn't get as good ASMR. Since this is Zach Choi though, listen to this. So now he takes the chicken, dips it into the crushed potato chips, and dunks it into hot oil to deep fry. In case you're wondering, the egg in the chicken helps to glue the chips. so many flavors all at once. 9 out of 10. Next up, we have these mini Reuben pickle bites that they say is a perfect appetizer for any gathering. She starts by cutting her whole pickle, but someone in the comments said thinner pickles, please. To which I have a hack to their hack. Let's just go ahead and use already sliced pickle chips. So that saved me 5 minutes since I don't have to cut them. Now she cuts up her cheese into 6 little squares, rolls up and preps the pastrami. Someone in the comments said, delish, but no way are you making all of that in 10 minutes. This is actually kind of fun, like meat roll-ups. You also need some sauerkraut and some Russian dressing. What is Russian dressing? I've never heard of it. Well, turns out it's kind of like Thousand Island dressing, but it's a mixture of mayo, ketchup, mustard, and some spices. I'm gonna take my pickle chip, layer it with some pastrami, slice of cheese, our sauerkraut, the dressing, another pickle chip, and then you toothpick it. This actually looks so good and so cute. And of course, someone in the comments said, OMFG, I need at least 75 right now. I don't know if I can do 75, but we're gonna do a few more. I do have to say that making 4 or at least 5 with all the prep has taken me almost 10 minutes, so making that many for a party will probably take me at least an hour. But for a lazy person snack or meal, this is amazing. Whew, that pickle is sour, but I'm not even missing the bread. 9 out of 10. The best thing about this next one is the reveal that this magician of an artist puts together, so I'm just gonna get right on into it. And this artist uses tweezers to paint his canvas. But he starts by laying down some spinach leaves. Those leaves look rather short, so let me do some trimming. First layer, done. Already so easy. Second layer, he adds like carrot shavings or ribbons right on top. I'm gonna go ahead and clean my carrot up and just make some ribbons. That was actually good practice for me, because now it looks like I need really thin ones because they look kind of bendy. Oh yeah. It's nice that the carrot just kind of curves as I'm shaving it down. It gives me a little bit of flexibility to work with. Now we just kind of scrunch it all up. Honestly, I find it easier just use my hands. Making kind of like a skirt shape where it kind of flares out. But there's some twisty pieces, curvy pieces. Now he adds strands of these little enoki mushrooms that kind of look like sea creatures. The little bulbous parts face downwards, and it doesn't look like he has too many strands. They're just kind of like fanned out. But we have some long and short pieces that just kind of sticks out. It's challenging to get them to lie down on top of the carrots though. Oh, that actually looks so good. Okay, next step. At first I thought they were like little egg strands, but I think they might be noodles based on reading the comments. Which, have you guys figured out what this reveal is gonna be yet? The strands look pretty straight, so I have to kind of line them up in a very uniform manner because we want straight hair, not wavy or curly hair. But let me go ahead and give it a little haircut, a bang trim if you will, and just lay it right over the enoki mushroom, kind of fan it out like a Christmas tree. This next move will definitely give it away because now he lays down 2 egg pieces, one slightly smaller than the other. So I'm gonna have to cut my hard-boiled egg in half asymmetrically. Now he takes a red piece of bell pepper and it looks like it's an interesting shape. So I'm gonna cut it in half, just the tip. Okay. Lines it right beneath the egg, and it doesn't have to be perfect because he then adds something blue right on top. That had everyone in the comments wondering, what is that blue part? And one good Samaritan said, red onion. When they're cooked with acid, their color intensifies. They turn a startling bluish green color. Google it. Someone else followed up to clarify. It means you add lemon or other citric acid. LOL. So I went ahead and did that. It did turn a more intense purple. And then I got to thinking, what other purple vegetable can I make bluish green? And I remembered red cabbage has turned my soup blue before, so maybe that would work. But unfortunately, soaking it in lemon juice and even vinegar turns it into a more intensely beautiful purple like the red onion. So I don't have a solution for the blue. We're just gonna have to go with the purple. This one lines the bottom. And now we need another bell pepper. I'm gonna have to freehand this. Ah, that actually looks pretty good. Oh my gosh. Proud of myself right now. Any guesses? Put it right there. Since I already have some purple cabbage, let's just use it. Now I have to do some little carvings. They got a little line. Wait, is that a sesame seed? And last piece, his tongue. I mean, it's pretty amateur work, but hey, you see the vision. Someone said the way I screeched when I realized it was hey. And last step, we add some hot soup. This is a chicken noodle soup minus the chicken. He's cooked. But I'm just gonna get a little bit of everything of Hey Hey. Sorry, Hey Hey. That was a healthy bird and way too pretty to eat. I'm gonna give this Hey Hey food art a 9 out of 10. And finally, we're about to find out which TikTok recipes are the best TikTok recipes ever. Here we go. With 30.2 million views, a salmon bake by Emily Mariko. We've all seen her use her leftover salmon. This is where she shows us how to make it. It looks pretty freaking good. But she starts off by crushing her garlic into a bowl. Out of all the gadgets I've tried, I don't love a garlic crusher. And then she adds a load of butter. I feel like we're gonna use half a stick here. There's a lot of butter. Microwaves it. Okay, now she adds juice from half a lemon and some salt. This is very Emily Mariko of me. I'm taking out all the seeds. Okay, we're not done yet. We're gonna cut lemon slices. She's always hunched over like this too. Someone even said they feel sorry for her back. I can't do this. And now we pick off some dill. You know she already washed, prepped, and dried all hers. Me, not so much. Okay, now let's prep our salmon. Pat it dry first. Looks like I can only do 2 for mine. Lay it on some parchment paper. And then she brushes on her lemon, dill, garlic, butter sauce right on top. I'm just gonna spoon mine on. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Top it with our lemon slices. And then of course she whips out her already prepped broccoli, but I need to catch up. Then she dumps the broccoli onto a plate, covers it with the rest of the lemon butter sauce, and then adds it to the baking sheet. This sauce already smells so good, I can taste it in my mouth. I love a one-pan dinner situation. I'm gonna bake it off. I'm speechless. Salmon, rice, and broccoli are 3 of my favorite things. Last step, some garnish for the rice. We all know what's happening tomorrow for Emily, and me actually. But in case you didn't know, this is what someone said. She's gonna use the rest of the salmon, microwave it with some rice, with an ice cube on top, mix the salmon and the rice, and eat it with avocado and seaweed. Just like we did in the Tradwife video. Might be my favorite so far, 10 out of 10. And now with 52 million views, this might be the most beautiful avocado toast. And we're gonna romanticize our breakfast by cutting the most perfect avocado. And to get that nice outer layer, I'm gonna have to peel mine. It appears that mine is not as perfect as that one, but... Okay, well, it looks like that's the best I can do, but now he makes perfect little slices. Ooh, my knife just kind of glides down. And then we just kind of push it to the side to fan it out. Now he toasts up his bread in a pan slathered with olive oil. And then this is where it gets interesting. He places the piece of bread onto his cake spinner, gently lifts up the avocado, and some people said, I'll take an avocado with the side of bread. And now, like a DJ, he spins his avocado while scratching the surface with a little bit of hot sauce. Looked pretty good until you ruined it with nasty sriracha. Now he sprinkles it with some fancy salt, cross hatches the avocado with some chives, and then a nice shaving of lemon zest right on top. Avocado toast is serious business, you know? Now this looks pretty good for 52 million views, but if he wanted the most viewed breakfast in this video, all he had to do was add some eggs on top to get 62 million views. She basically makes the avocado toast the same way, except for the egg. She hard boils it, peels it, and then separates the yolks from the whites. People were flabbergasted why she separated the egg whites from the egg yolks. She then chops up the egg whites, and then for the egg yolks, she adds in mayo, Dijon mustard, salt and pepper, a little bit of lemon juice, and some oil. But I guess it just helps makes the sauce creamier. Then she adds the egg whites back in, mixes it up, and finally loads up her avocado toast with the eggs on top. People were so mad. Why the egg is on top? It's obviously supposed to be spread on the bread and add the avocado on top. In caps. Someone else said, yeah, because eggs ain't mushy enough, we need some avocado. I know this just tasted so good. Maybe since I combined both of theirs, maybe my version will be 72 million on TikTok. That's another 10 out of 10. Now we don't have just regular boba, we have jumbo boba. It's so fat, squishy, and cute. Someone said, it's not milk tea with boba, it's boba with milk tea. And he doesn't exactly show us what it is, but in the comments, everyone said it's grass jelly. Imagine if it's coffee jelly. Let's make coffee jelly. For the jelly, we're not using tapioca like they normally do for bobas. I'm gonna be using gelatin, so I'm just gonna sprinkle some gelatin over my water and let it bloom. And then just to give it more of that like chewy texture, I'm gonna mix in some cornstarch. This will give us that slight bouncy chew. So while the gelatin and slurry is doing its thing, we're gonna cook up our coffee and sugar. I already brewed my coffee, so I'm gonna pour it into the saucepan along with the sugar, and we're just gonna heat it until the sugar dissolves. Make sure you don't boil the coffee though, because it's gonna ruin the gelatin when we add it. Once the sugar's dissolved, I'm gonna add the slurry, let it cook for 1 to 2 minutes until it's like slightly thickened, and then turn off the heat, add our bloom gelatin, and then just stir until it's fully dissolved. I could definitely relate to this comment. Oh my god, thank you for showing me how to use that ice tray. I struggle with ice trays. Okay, and then once you press down the cover, any excess coffee mixture is supposed to squirt out of the hole right here, and then you have perfectly round balls in the fridge. Oh, well that was aggressive. Now we'll stick it in the fridge for a few hours and I'll check on it later. I've heard of this breaking on people. Do it slowly. Oh, it's so cool. Let's dump them onto a plate. They're so bouncy. Oh my gosh. It's like one of those little baby bouncing balls you get at the dentist office. Okay, now I'm gonna transfer the boba balls into my cup. Oh my gosh. No! Just to make it truly my boba with the side of milk tea, I actually found this brown sugar creamer that I think would be perfect with our coffee jelly. That's satisfying pour. I don't have a big enough boba straw for this, but my spoon will do the job. Actually though, it has the exact texture of grass jelly and then the satisfying chew and roundness of a boba, except bigger and better. I'm gonna give jumbo coffee boba like straight up 10 out of 10. This one looks like a pizza egg roll, and it's supposed to be really easy for teens or kids, but BRB, I'm gonna go make this. Okay, so she starts off by cutting the crust of the bread, and then she flattens it out with a rolling pin. Ooh, that's satisfying. And then you get this thin little bread wrapper. Now she adds some shredded mozzarella cheese, and then some little baby pepperoni. Someone said this is when you can't get a hot pocket. And then she rolls it up. I guess to make sure it doesn't pop out, she kind of pinches it all together. Gotta make sure I don't have any cheese leakage. Oh no, it did not hold. But before she starts frying everything, she makes like this butter garlic sauce. A little extra, never hurt anyone. And like magic, it just melts all together. Okay, but now let's stir it up and then brush it on our pizza rolls. This is like a combination of pizza, egg rolls, and garlic bread all together in one. No, don't open. Now, because someone complained that they don't have an air fryer, so she kind of just grills it on a pan. I'm just gonna brown the seams at the bottom a little bit, but then she does this move where she shakes the pan and everything just gets nice and golden brown. Okay, that move clearly doesn't work, so I'm just gonna have to flip it over. Ah, I hate the seam. All right, let's see if we can get that epic cheese pool. I'll tell you, it's hot though. Is it epic? Oh, it's not bad. But this is what it looks like inside. Let's dip it in some marinara. Someone said this is the type of thing I'd make during online school. This is the type of thing I make when I'm hungry. Wait, that was so simple, yet it was so good. I mean, how can I say no to pizza? 10 out of 10. Is it a cottage fairy garden? Is it an anime scene? Yes, it's Totoro Hill. And she starts by laying down some pancakes, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. Someone said I have the potential, but what are the ingredients? We have pancake batter. Use a mix if you want to, and just follow the direction. Mix the dry with the wet ingredients. The trick to a good pancake is you have to let it sit for a minute to fully hydrate the flour before cooking it. Okay, so I'm ready to cook my pancakes, but by the looks of it, I need to make a bigger one and then a smaller one. Oh, that's a perfect pancake. The next layer that she adds over the pancakes looks like whipped cream, but it's actually not. It's meringue. Someone said my toxic trait is thinking I can do this, and you totally can. Okay, first we're gonna separate 2 eggs. We're just gonna take the egg whites. And make sure when you're doing this, you don't break the egg yolk, because that's gonna be a disaster. And then the secret to like stable meringue so that you can torch and have it stand up like this hill is actually cream of tartar. So while I'm whisking my egg whites, I'm gonna slowly sprinkle in my sugar and then add in a dash of the cream of tartar before it whips up into a nice stiff peak. There is such thing as over whipping it, and so when it starts to look a little bit dry, that means I gotta stop. Okay, now it looks like they add it to a piping bag. Ooh, look how firm that is. Cut the tip, and hopefully this is enough to build my hill. We're gonna start with our biggest pancake, and then we're gonna pipe a little ring of the meringue around, And then inside, kind of looks like he's adding this egg yolk, huh? Except you can't eat that. I think it's actually lemon curd. So I just bought lemon curd in a jar and zhuzhed it up with some butter and cream to make it nice and runny. Now the second pancake goes right on top, and then we're gonna fill the sides and the top of this pancake and cover the whole thing and shape it into like this swirly hill structure. This is reminding me of like a mini Matterhorn here. Okay, now let's actually just fix up meringue and spread it out, and then we'll add the swirls. Does that look kind of good? Here comes the fun part. We're gonna torch this baby, just lightly giving it some dry mountainside vibes. Okay, so now it looks like we add another layer of lemon curd volcanic lava down the hill. That's cute. Now I gotta dust on some grass, and we're gonna use matcha powder. Now it's starting to look like a California countryside. That's the best I can do. She adds some colored baby breaths on top. I was not able to find little Totoro figurines, so we're just gonna create our own little fairy garden with little mushrooms and porcupines. Porcupine can live down here. Our mushrooms can grow on the little hill. And then upon closer look, there's also some pearly beads. I'm going rogue and adding my own touch to this because I think this whole magical fairy garden could use a little bit of a fairy dust. And ta-da! I had so much fun playing with this food. I don't want to cut into it, but I'll show you what it looks like inside. This gives a whole new meaning to souffle pancakes. That was so good. It is so beautiful and fun to make. 10 out of 10. We have Nara Smith making Capri Sun. She starts by unloading all of her fruits. We have a pineapple, some pears, and since oranges are in season, we have some of those. Green apple, and some grapes. Capri Suns are one of the more affordable juices I remember packing for lunch, but all these fruits cost me 20 bucks, so I hope it tastes better than a Capri Sun at least. Okay, but she starts off by chopping up all of her fruits. Someone in the comments said, I wear that same dress to make rice and peas. I try to find the closest thing I had. She goes on to say that her favorite Capri Sun is the one with multivitamins, which is why she's using all of these different fruits. And then she picks off a bunch of grapes. Now, I wasn't really sure where she was going with all the cut fruit, but turns out she's just gonna juice it. I thought she was gonna cook it down or something like that. Let me get some grapes in there. I have never juiced grapes before. And since this doesn't exactly look like a Capri Sun yet, it needs a little tint of pink, she adds in some frozen cherries. Ooh. Okay, let's stir it up real quick. Oh yeah, that looks good. A little thick, which is why she strains it and then pours it into these drinkable pouches. This looks oddly medical, like I should have an IV drip into me. But even Capri Sun, the brand, commented, this tickled my brain in all the right ways. Thank you, Nara. That actually really tastes like a Capri Sun. It's so good. Whoa, I was not expecting that. 10 out of 10. If you made it this far, why don't you go watch me test out some TikTok dessert recipes? Bye.